Hi, Jewells68 here for Talk to Me Tuesday on Tuesday, May 17th. I did it. I finished the coffee birthday blocks quilt. Well, the top, at any rate. Last week, when I had the blocks posted, Jen suggested doing the, just filling in with full pieces of fabric, with solid pieces of fabric. So because I had this leftover fabric from Clumsy Cord and this leftover fabric from Clumsy Cord, I managed to get, let's see, two of each of those that were the same size block, about 10 inches, 10.5 inches. And then all of these were a little bit different sized, so they ended up getting trimmed down. So there really were more like 10 inches unfinished, because once I got done trimming everything down to fit, yeah, I had lost probably a good ½ inch off each unfinished block. Anyway, I wasn't going to include these, stuff like this that didn't really match, and then I decided I didn't want to have to make any more blocks, so just do it, so you can get it done. This text fabric and this text fabric, which are identical but different colors, I've had in my stash for like 15 years. When I first bought a sewing machine and had learned how to sew, taken a single sewing class, I decided I was going to make all of my Christmas gifts that year. And I bought this fabric to make like placemats and napkins for everybody in the family, all my siblings for their houses or whatever. And yeah, that didn't happen. So I've had like 1,000,000 yards of this fabric, and I've made things like grocery bags and things like that with it, and napkins. But yeah, so I filled in with that, and I only had enough of the blue, a big enough piece of the blue to do one. And that's kind of why I decided to go ahead and include this coffee cup instead of making it into a throw pillow, because I incorporated a couple of the blocks that I really felt like, even though they were kind of with the theme, they just didn't fit the same kind of color scheme and stuff, but I went ahead and used everything, so there we are. This fabric was in my stash. I've used this a lot for bindings and backings. It's from Joann's, but it's a Robert Kaufman. It's a really nice brown, because it's got kind of a mixture of a darker and lighter brown. And I did the top and the bottom, and then I pieced this and got it lined up, and I pieced this and got it lined up, and I got ready to do this, and I was short by about 6 inches on both sides. So I dug through my brown scrap bin and managed to scrounge up just enough fabric to add a tiny little bit here and a tiny little bit here, which is a little bit less I needed here. Yeah, so the top is finished. I'm so excited. It will probably not have anything else done to it this year, but that's okay, because it's 5 years I've been dragging these blocks around, well, 4.5, because it was the end of the year that I got them all. So now, 4.5 years later, I finally have moved this along from a bag of blocks, a Ziploc baggie full of blocks, into a finished quilt top. So now it will be a baggie with a finished quilt top in it, but that's better than just a bunch of blocks. So, yeah. So there you are, the coffee quilt. Yay! The only other thing I have to show is I did manage to get 2 fleece blankets done for Project Linus for this past weekend and turn them in. So now I'm at 3 blankets for the year. So going into June, I will be behind by at least 2, if not 3. But hopefully I can get those, get caught up in June, if not July. So we shall see. I mean, we've got Memorial Day weekend coming. We got 4th of July weekend coming. I have vacation days I need to use. So, yeah. It's not like I don't have time to do stuff. As usual, I did bring home fabric, because I always do, from Project Linus. Somehow I always come back with more than I left with. And anyway, it's cute, so I want to show you. So, yeah. So, somebody had donated, I think it was the remains of a layer cake, because they were 10 inches. And is that not cute, of this giraffe? And then this polka dot that goes with it. The big polka dots. Well, in my stash, there were 10 of these giraffe blocks, and there was only 5 of these blocks. So I dug around in my stash until I found this fabric, which, lo and behold, except for the turquoise, like, the polka dots are the same color. I think it might actually be the same line of fabric because even the texture of the fabric feels exactly the same. And I also had this with this gray with the tiny polka dots. So I decided, oh, that was my phone in my pocket dying. I decided I wanted to do snowball blocks. So I started putting them together, and I don't know, I kind of don't like it. So I just have 2 sets of these put together of the opposite colors, I think. And I just cut a couple of 10-inch strips of the polka dot, the tiny polka dots. I think I'm going to try separating these and inserting just a 1.5-inch sashing. I'll do 1 row just to see how I like it. And if I like it, then yay. Because, you know, the whole idea, I should have just taken the squares and put them together. But I felt like they were so busy that I needed to break them up somehow. I didn't want to, you know, make a baby go into seizures looking at this. So anyway, so hopefully I'll have that top finished to show next week, which means I'll have 4 Project Linus quilt tops that are ready to be basted and quilted, and I need to get off my butt and get that done. I now have no excuse because I have the blue painter's tape in stock now. I have what I need. I should have everything I need to get them basted and quilted and even bound without having to buy anything. So let's hope I get that done. I'm encouraged because I got this done. So I'm motivated. Anyway, that's it. I had a really productive week. I will add pictures of the Project Linus fleece blankets at the end. And there's one that is basically 2 strips of fleece that were, neither one of them were wide enough to be a blanket. Instead of serging them this time, I didn't even want to get out my serger. I was too lazy for that. One of the ladies in our Project Linus group is really great at putting together remnants of fleece. And she zigzags them because she doesn't have a serger. She zigzags them in a way, and I'll try to show it in the picture, but she basically zigzags them and leaves like 1 inch or 1.5 inches seam allowance. Then she folds one over, she like folds them over flat, pins them really good, and zigzags that raw edge. Even though it's not going to fray, you don't want that flap hanging there because that just looks unfinished. So she zigzags up that so that there's no loose bits. She usually crochets a border on the edge. I got this all done this week. So this one is half a pirate fleece and half just a solid orange fleece. I just folded it over and zigzagged all the way around on the back and zigzagged the label on, and boom, I was done. I'm definitely going to make another one of those out of remnants because I thought it was really cool. So I'm going to dig through my fleece and look for any more narrow strips that aren't wide enough and see what I can put together. I'd like to get all of my fleece gone by the June meeting, so we shall see. And that will be one more bin out of this room. Yeah, so that's it. I look forward to watching your videos, and I will see you next week. Bye!